Hi, I'm Kathy Henry, and I am a licensed clinical social worker in the Indianapolis area, and I am proud to work for Healing Hearts of Indy. Today I want to talk about what is the most powerful last word. Specifically, what's the most powerful word in the last word in an argument? Do you need to have the last word? Why is it so hard to let the conversation die without being the last one to get your point made? What drives this compulsive need to have that last say in an argument? Well, I contend that the most powerful last word is not what you might think it might be. So why do we have to have the last word? Sometimes we have a need to be right. They call it right fighting. We're fighting just to be right, not really to to get our point heard or anything like that. But more importantly, we just need to be right. And somewhere in our lives, we've learned that in order to be loved, we have to know more than everybody else or be right. Another way reason why people fight and need to have the last word is that they need validation. Sometimes when we were children, our feelings didn't get validated, and so we need to look to others and convince others to agree with our feelings in order to allow us to feel them. So I call that validation. We need to have that validated through another person by having them agree that it's okay for us to have the feeling that we have. And sometimes we're going to have a hard time getting that validation if them agreeing to your feeling means that they did something wrong or they have to deal with their own shame. The third reason might be for control. We may have deep abandonment or shame and need to control whether or not the other person approves of us, or maybe we're trying to protect ourselves by abandoning the other person before they abandon us, and we do that by convincing them that they're wrong, and people don't like to be convinced that they're wrong. So when we whatever the reason is, I talk with my clients a lot about how to respond to someone when someone is coming at them. Whatever the attack might be. And I liken it to someone lobbing a bomb over into your camp, and then you get to choose whether you're going to go to your arsenal and select a comparable bomb and lob it back into their camp and have it go off over there, or whether you are going to just let it hit the ground and fizzle out. When we heft one back over into the other person's camp, trying to have the last word, we actually are adding to the problem. So now instead of having one problem to deal with or one reactive person to deal with, now we have two reactive people to deal with, which clearly is very difficult to solve even one problem, let alone solve two. And given that we have one person responding negatively a situation, when we let that bomb fizzle out, then it is the other person's negativity and hatred, reactivity, and all of that that's hanging in the air. It's their bad behavior that's hanging in the air. When we instead choose to lob a bomb back into their camp, then we run the risk of having our negativity and our bad behavior hanging in the air. And that's what we have to lay our head down on the pillow at night and think about. So letting their last venomous words be the ones ringing in their ears sometimes can be a very powerful way for somebody to learn. So what is the most powerful last word? I say it's no word at all. And I don't necessarily mean dead silence, but what I mean, instead of a word, I mean the act of forgiveness and understanding. That's going to wield way more power than any kind of sharp retort that you can come up with. Understand that the person who is hurting you is hurting. They're hurting themselves, and understand that that person has no other tool in their toolbox to respond to you, respond to their pain, other than what they just lobbed at you. And if it's the only way that they know how to respond, and then you return fire, you're just making them dig deeper into their arsenal to find something else to deal with their pain. And now they have more pain to deal with because you have added to it by lobbing whatever it is that you added into the equation. So that the satisfaction of inflicting the last blow really only lasts for a minute. The glory of being right may only last for an hour or a day. But the power that comes from you being in control of your behavior and responding to things in a healthy, mature way is something that's going to last a lifetime. Now, I know that what I'm suggesting is going to take considerable strength and wisdom and maturity, but I can assure you that when you stop, that the fighting will stop when you stop fighting. You can't have an argument by yourself. And so I really encourage you, if you get into fights with your partner and it just is like a tennis match where you're lobbing back and forth bombs at each other, stop throwing bombs. You don't have to stand there and be abused, but stop throwing back your own and let your partner's bombs be the only ones being thrown, and then see what happens. Just see if something different happens. And you might find that that is the most powerful last word. I appreciate you listening and hope you have a great day.